Welcome back to our channel, where we share updates and untold stories about Catherine, Princess of Wales, and her royal family. Today we bring you some news: Camilla madness after Catherine's quiet promotion. Exposed by the letter kept by the Duke of Kent. An informant said that the death of the Duchess of Kent has altered everything in the royal family. The news that she wanted to give most of her money to Princess Catherine and Prince William startled everyone, including Queen Camilla. The insider said that Queen Camilla was displeased with King Charles's choice to give the royal lodge to Prince William and Princess Catherine. The will of the Duke of Kent has made Camilla even more tense. We'll find out why this news and King Charles's relocation have had such a big effect on Camilla in this video. Accounts have emerged, revealing a confidential directive issued by the late Queen Elizabeth II, which provides an exceptionally intimate glimpse at the long-term strategic thinking behind the British monarchy's continuity planning. Those who have seen the paper believe it was held for years by her cousin Prince Edward, Duke of Kent, and was discovered at his house as his health started to deteriorate. The edict grants Catherine, the Princess of Wales, a larger and, by modern standards, quite new role. It also grants her a great deal of new authority and a historically significant family treasure in a new form. The announcement, which occurred at a private and emotional time, seems to be a well-planned effort to influence the crown's future and demonstrate the late monarch's concern for stability, flexibility, and modernity in an institution she governed for 7 decades. This report essentially suggests that a secret edict has granted the Princess of Wales powers formerly reserved solely for the monarch or the heir apparent. Most notably, it provides her the authority to issue royal warrants, which are often exclusively granted to the monarch's spouse, and on occasion the selected successor. The decree grants the princess more authority as an advisor and hands her the Williamson pink diamond, which has been transformed into a necklace for her to wear. This elevates her status beyond that of a consort who assists the sovereign with ceremonial and humanitarian activities. It places her at the center of a well-organized web of power designed to help the monarchy move on to the next chapter. Some who follow royal affairs saw the Duke of Kent's revelation, which sprang from a public life distinguished by constant silent service, as the culmination of Queen Elizabeth II's long-term plan to ensure that institutions are robust and adaptable. People who were there said that the mood of the reveal was peaceful and intimate, in contrast to the large festivities and grandeur that are typical of royal life. As the Duke of Kent approached his 89th birthday and his health deteriorated, friends and family believe he recognized he needed to uphold a promise he had made to the monarch. After more than 70 years of service, the physical demands of his tasks were becoming more burdensome. This period of meditation was consistent with his long-time feeling of commitment. Witnesses described it as a moving moment when the Princess of Wales was summoned to the Duke's side. The Duke, who had been a model of restraint and fortitude for decades, is believed to have talked with the frailty of old age, but a strong sense of direction. Instead of immediately divulging the contents of the letter, he began by discussing his personal recollections of Queen Elizabeth II's, such as how realistic she was, how hard she worked, and how quietly resolute she was to cope with the different issues she faced over her long reign. Those recollections were presented as context, not only as a preface. In her latter years, the Queen instructed him to place them with someone who understood and agreed with her views on civic duty. He then said that the Queen had given him a sealed letter to keep safe in her final years, selecting him as the custodian since he was trustworthy and had been loyal for a long time. The Duke suggested that the letter be saved until the family and institution needed it the most. The Queen urged him to preserve the document, indicating that she was well aware of the issues that the monarchy would face and intended to offer a trusted advisor with a method for gradually transferring power at the appropriate time. When the contents of the letter were finally made public, those who were there described it as an extremely emotional occasion. According to sources, the proclamation contained a private decree from the late king granting the Princess of Wales several tasks and powers. It was not for show. People applauded the princess for her calm and courteous demeanor in public. When she heard the Queen's words of trust, she was claimed to be visibly moved. People saw she had tears in her eyes as she tackled the difficult job. According to reports, Prince William, who was also there, observed with great delight, demonstrating his respect for his grandmother's choice and agreement with his wife's rising significance to the monarchy's future. People who knew the family well described the occasion as a subtle but significant turning point that linked the Elizabethan age to the new types of leadership that would likely define the coming several years. To understand why the Queen chose the Duke of Kent to maintain such an important secret, consider his life biography and how he interacted with the late Queen. Prince Edward was born October 9, 1935. He is the eldest son of Prince George, Duke of Kent, and Princess Marina of Greece and Denmark. He was the grandson of King George V, making him a first cousin of Queen Elizabeth II and Prince Philip. As a result, he has played an important role in his family from an early age. Edward's childhood was marred by tragedy. His father died in a military aviation crash in 1942, leaving him with a title and responsibilities that included both public expectations and private grief. The Duke's early years were shaped by his proximity to the throne, which influenced but did not govern his life. He didn't want to be in the limelight, so he established a reputation for being responsible, disciplined, and always performing his job. He attended Eton College and the Royal Military Academy Sandhurst, two institutions that have historically prepared Britain's elite for leadership. After that, he served in the Army for 21 years. He principally served with the Royal Scots Greys and was stationed in Germany and Cyprus. He rose to the rank of lieutenant colonel before leaving active service in 1976. Following his tenure in the Army, the Duke concentrated solely on royal tasks. For decades, he was one of the royal family's most hard-working members, representing the monarch at hundreds of events each year throughout the United Kingdom and the Commonwealth. He was a familiar presence at key state ceremonies such as Trooping the Colour, when he often rode beside the Queen before riding in a carriage. For many years, he stood next to Elizabeth on the balcony of Buckingham Palace, providing a calm and steady presence. He also led civic and humanitarian organizations. He served as president of the All England Lawn Tennis and Croquet Club for almost 50 years, and he delivered addresses at Wimbledon. He also had a long-standing engagement with the Commonwealth War Graves Commission, demonstrating his appreciation for military service and commemoration. People who knew the Duke well claimed that his most essential characteristic was his strong relationship with Queen Elizabeth II. They were first cousins and grew up together, so they had a profound understanding of the difficulties of public life and an unspoken kinship. People who knew him well have long said that he was one of the Queen's closest friends, someone she could confide in and trust that her ideas would be kept confidential. Their shared convictions, including a service ethic, a dry sense of humor, and a feeling of duty, ensured that their love would endure a lifetime. His discretion, consistency, and respect for others made him an ideal choice to defend a directive intended to steer the monarchy into the future. According to many who have read the decree, it combines actual authority with symbolic power and represents a significant shift in the traditional role of a royal consort. In reality, the most crucial aspect is that the Princess of Wales has the authority to grant royal warrants of appointment. A royal warrant is a formal recognition granted to individuals or organizations that have offered items or services to the monarch or senior members of the royal family for at least 5 years. Those who receive these warrants may display the royal arms on their products, premises, or packaging. Warrants serve as certifications of quality and reliability, and manufacturers and merchants have traditionally respected them since they benefit from being connected with the crown's reputation. Royal warrants were once issued solely by the royal their consort, and on rare occasions the selected heir. This is because the warrants were tightly tied to the personal dwellings of senior royals. Giving this power to the Princess of Wales is a significant departure from convention. According to those who have seen the letter, this is practically unheard of in modern times, and there hasn't been a recent situation in which a royal consort in her position has been authorized to issue warrants. The royal warrant system is founded on history, yet it has significant economic implications. For example, royal permission may have a significant influence on the fortunes of both small and medium-sized firms, as well as long-established manufacturers and artisans. Analysts quoted in the first publications estimated the economic effect of royal warrants to be in the hundreds of millions of pounds, with some estimates reaching the low billions when brand association, export value, and tourism advantages are included. The Queen's directive empowers Catherine to issue these warrants, giving her a valuable instrument for directing business in ways that align with her public goals. The guarantee may assist her in locating firms that adhere to the principles she has emphasized, such as sustainable manufacturing techniques, fair labor standards, or artisans that preserve historic British workmanship. The support might be part of a larger strategy to align the monarchy's symbolic capital with the economic and social trends that the institution seeks to advance. Consider how a warrant works to comprehend its authority. The royal arms serve as an implicit seal of approval, which many consumers and international markets see as a symbol of heritage quality and reliability. A warrant may assist a small family-owned food or textile manufacturing company in acquiring new retail partners, increasing its prospects of exporting and gaining a reputation that allows it to charge higher prices or acquire shelf space in competitive markets. The warrant allows established British manufacturers, such as clockmakers, tailors, leather workers, and ceramicists, to preserve a link to national identity and continuity, which helps keep their enterprises and culture alive. So warrants are at the intersection of business culture and diplomacy. They are economic mechanisms, cultural symbols, and soft power assets that demonstrate and strengthen the monarchy's position in society and throughout the globe. The princess's jurisdiction extends beyond the issuance of warrants. The edict is claimed to provide Catherine a wide advisory role, putting her at the center of various royal decision-making processes. According to individuals who have seen the letter, her position entails contributing to the family's charitable portfolio, which involves determining giving priorities, managing causes, and deciding which partnerships to pursue. She also has a voice over the rules and procedures that govern royal affairs. The practical outcome would be to treat her as an equal partner with Prince William in preparing for his future leadership. This would place her in control of the monarchy's daily operations rather than merely being a ceremonial figure. In terms of operations, an advisor position like this may involve responsibilities that keep the royal household operating in the modern period. The royal calendar is a complex logistical undertaking that requires collaboration with government departments, foreign dignitaries, charities, and private estates. Having someone with formal power to establish priorities and transmit messages ensures that the family's public appearances are consistent with their strategic objectives. This might include selecting charity initiatives that demonstrate personal devotion and align with the purposes of the institution, composing communications that maintain broad public support while avoiding controversy and altering the rhythm of royal life to ensure they can deal with crises or changes. The decree's emphasis on advising competence recognizes the realities of ruling by consent. A monarchy's authority is largely drawn from public opinion, and rigorous management of roles and causes is required to influence that perspective. Royal critics and constitutional observers have seen this change in responsibilities as consistent with the late Queen's realistic plan for institutional preservation. She reportedly saw in Catherine a combination of popular appeal, a calm temperament, and solid managerial abilities that might help balance tradition with the urge to go ahead. According to sources, such characteristics were notably apparent amid the princess's health troubles in 2024. Her ability to remain cool and powerful under pressure, both in public and privately, strengthened the notion that she could manage the visible and behind-the-scenes responsibilities of being a contemporary queen. This judgment is significant since Catherine's role is as much about how she interacts with people as it is about her formal skills. Royal families operate via complex networks of trust, patronage, and tradition. A senior consort with the authority to speak out on problems, promote businesses, and get engaged in family concerns serves as a connection through which institutional principles and practices are handed down and reinforced. The Queen's objective seems to have been to select a long-term steward whose influence would be moral and flexible, able to keep things moving without becoming a rigid ritual. One of the most common pieces of advice attributed to the Queen is to prioritize family unity and emotional wellness among its members. According to those who have read the decree, it emphasizes a guiding principle that can be summarized as family first, duty second, but both intertwined. This principle is based on the idea that the family is not only a public institution, but also a private network whose health has a direct impact on the monarchy's public-facing activities. The Princess of Wales's role includes developing family bonds, ensuring that family members get personal assistance and counsel in their public tasks, and caring for the mental and emotional resources that enable long-term service. This emphasis on emotional well-being is consistent with shifts in how people expect leaders to behave. In general, modern firms are judged not just by their routines, but also by how they treat their employees. The Queen implicitly backed a stewardship paradigm that balances public obligation and private care by instructing Catherine to prioritize her family's well-being. This demonstrates that the power of an institution is contingent on the strength of its members. In real life, this might involve advocating for family-friendly rules at work that protect time for intimate relationships, assisting people who are experiencing personal difficulties, and establishing methods for resolving disagreements and helping one another. These kinds of behaviors may have an impact on the whole family, including how Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis are prepared for future public roles. The decree's emphasis on psychological well-being and family unity indicates a more sophisticated vision of leadership in which the personal and public spheres are intertwined rather than separate. A consort in charge of the family's well-being may have an influence on the training, education, and pastoral care of those who are likely to hold public office. This is significant because how future royals are schooled to balance privacy and responsibility, how they are exposed to public life, and the values emphasized will have long-term consequences for public opinion and institutional capacity. According to family members, the Queen's decision to delegate responsibility to the princess was intended to be flexible rather than severe. The idea was not to place Catherine in a tight bureaucratic position, but rather to allow her the authority and flexibility to adjust things as they happened. This flexibility would allow her to continue advocating for issues that have helped shape her public image, such as early childhood development and mental health. It would also provide her the institutional footing she needs to address changing demands. In other words, the Queen's decree seemed to be a tool to assist the princess in formalizing and maintaining a natural route of influence that combined public advocacy with the practical work of becoming an institutional leader. That design demonstrates that the individuals who created it understand that formal power has limitations in an organization whose legitimacy is usually based on soft authority, such as charm, public esteem, and moral influence. Power that is too rigid or open may result in constitutional or public disagreements on what is proper, but power that is excessively distributed may result in inefficiency. The Queen's approach, which includes both symbolic and practical levers, appears to be aimed at finding a middle ground, giving people real power to act, while also allowing them to influence others in a way that is consistent with the Windsor family's legacy of stewardship by consensus and example. The Williamson pink diamond represented a tremendous transfer of trust. Dr. John Thoburn Williamson discovered a flawless 54.5-carat rough pink diamond in 1947 in the Mwadwi mine in Tanganyika, now Tanzania. This is where the stone's story starts. Pink diamonds are very unusual gemstones. They are highly valued since they are uncommon transparent and have a delicate rose tint. People believed that Dr. Williamson's gift of the uncut stone to Princess Elizabeth when she married Prince Philip in 1947 represented hope and rebirth in the years after the war. The rough was cut into a 23.6-carat round, brilliant cut, and in 1953 the Queen commissioned Cartier to create a setting for it. Cartier transformed the pink stone into a jonquil-shaped brooch by setting it in the center of 203 white diamonds that resembled petals, a stem, and leaves. Queen Elizabeth has worn the Williamson pink diamond brooch to important occasions, like state banquets, Commonwealth visits, and family gatherings for decades. As a consequence, the diamond became both an official collection piece and a personal emblem of goodwill and history throughout her reign. Insiders at the palace think that diamond shards were finally transformed into a necklace intended for private use. The brooch remained a significant ceremonial ornament, but the necklace allowed the Queen to wear the stone more privately during family gatherings and less public events. According to those who know about it, this necklace is a personal object that was purposefully created to remain hidden from public view. The Queen selected it for the Princess of Wales in a secret decree. Transferring such a personal and historically important diamond has numerous meanings. It is a tangible expression of trust, a link between generations, and a physical reminder of the continuity that Elizabeth desired to maintain. The symbolism of a pink diamond is profound in and of itself. Pink gemstones have long been associated with rarity and elegance. In certain cultures, they are seen as emblems of grace and delicacy. The Queen did more than simply give away property when she handed away the diamond, which had been transformed into a necklace for personal use. She also passed on an iconic inheritance, the qualities she admired in Catherine: tranquility, firmness, and the capacity to represent the institution to contemporary audiences. People believe that when the princess first wears the necklace during a carefully orchestrated ceremony, it will serve as a symbolic declaration of her new status and the Queen's goal for continuity. In royal custom, giving away a specific item from the monarch's or Queen's personal collection is a great occasion. Royal gems symbolize remembrance and strength. Their history is conveyed via marriages, coronations, and state visits, and the stories that accompany them are part of the monarchy's iconography. The Queen handed the princess a diamond with such a heritage, linking Catherine to a line of representation with both official and private significance. As a consequence, the necklace functions as both a personal reminder and a sign of institutional continuity. The consequences of the revelation extend beyond the persons who were personally involved. They also influence the monarchy's destiny. It demonstrates how to properly plan for the long future. The Queen's decision to trust the princess and give her part of her symbolic riches demonstrates her desire to wield the crown's soft power in ways that are more aligned with what people expect in the 21st century. The late monarch and later King Charles III, who is reported to have made the princess authority to issue royal warrants official in 2025, seemed to favor a collaborative, practical, and adaptable leadership style. The move has received much appreciation among the royal family. It is a formal recognition of a connection that the public has seen for years. The couple's joint public actions and appearances often suggest that they are co-leaders. For King Charles, the formalization is consistent with his long-held ambition for a more concentrated or slimmed-down monarchy, with fewer senior royals taking on more crucial roles. So the Queen's decision supports the principle of delegating functional responsibilities to a group of persons who are best qualified to accomplish them. Other senior members, like Princess Anne, who is renowned for her strong work ethic, are said to feel that the move is consistent with the family's modernization over time. The order will have an impact on future generations. Catherine's primary role as a guide will undoubtedly influence how Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis are trained to perform their duties and what values they acquire. Her effect on charity goals, public messaging, and family dynamics may influence how the children see service and their obligation to the public. In that sense, the Queen's decision was intended to ensure that institutions were solid right immediately, while also establishing a long-term culture of stewardship that would persist through generations. There are also broader implications for culture and the economy. Using royal warrants to support ethical or ecologically friendly businesses might employ royal grandeur to attract attention to public concerns like sustainability, social responsibility, and the preservation of artisanal crafts. When royal symbols are purposely associated with these types of concerns, they may influence how people act and what they speak about in public, not only in ceremonial contexts. Giving the princess formal authority in these areas converts private trust into a public weapon for soft power. Consider how this sort of lever may be used in real-life campaigns. The princess has traditionally been associated with early childhood development, mental health, and family well-being. Under her direction, a warrant program might assist businesses that manufacture and sell things and services for child development, promote family-friendly working standards, or prioritize ethical sourcing to safeguard vulnerable populations, both at home and abroad. If used in conjunction with targeted patronage and public campaigns, the warrant may assist in promoting social priorities, urging people to donate money to charity and preserving artisan skills that are threatened by economic change. There are also diplomatic considerations. Trade missions and cultural diplomacy are regularly carried out with royal visits and state gifts. A senior consort who patronizes both domestically and internationally may play a larger role in promoting British goods and expertise, which benefits trade. In countries where the crown has symbolic value, the princess's endorsements may strengthen economic and cultural ties. At the same time, employing these skills may be hazardous and controversial. Republican critics and constitutional academics have long debated how much control the monarchy should have over commerce and public affairs. Giving a senior consort the authority to issue warrants may raise concerns about transparency, conflicts of interest, or the politicization of royal power, especially if the decisions appear to favor specific companies or benefactors. The Queen's apparent focus on moderation and family-first aims may be seen as an attempt to avoid controversy by framing the princess's role as stewardship rather than activism, prioritizing judgment, caution, and continuity above direct political action. So how the palace manages openness and monitoring will be critical. The institution's long-standing traditions of private counsel and discreet coordination attempt to keep royal power within publicly known bounds. The informal checks and standards that the Queen established may be part of her legacy. In today's media age, such norms are constantly and immediately examined. The Queen's strategy will be successful if the princess's public position is clear, the system for obtaining warrants is transparent, and the palace can demonstrate that endorsements are based on objective criteria that are in the public's best interests. This episode reveals a lot about how the late Queen performed her responsibilities. Her rule was lengthy, and she guided the country through significant social changes. The decision to establish institutions that will aid a monarchy after Elizabeth demonstrates a ruler who is considering how to construct a succession and change mechanism. The private letter addressed to the Duke of Kent, as well as the selection of a faithful custodian, demonstrates a wise combination of secrecy and foresight. Keeping information hidden until the appropriate moment to share, it would best maintain unity and provide unambiguous advice. The Duke of Kent's last act of duty, informing the Queen of her command in a tranquil family environment, seemed to mark the end of one chapter and the beginning of another. It demonstrates how the monarchy, which is built on tradition, manages change by quiet, hidden activities. The Queen's instruction, issued discreetly, was carried out in accordance with the responsibility and discretion that she and the Duke represented. When seen in a broader context, the episode demonstrates how monarchies evolve by combining personal relationships with institutional processes. The crown's strength has usually sprung from habit routine and the choices of those who shift power when it counts the most. From constitutional settlement to ceremonial practice, the Windsor monarchy has adapted by using informal instruments, letters, private counsel, subtle transfers of responsibility that operate outside of statutory law, but within accepted norms. The secret edict and its execution reflect this pattern human action intended to alter the monarchy's public orientation without official legal change. There are historical instances that assist us in comprehending this kind of intervention, yet none are exactly the same. For a long time, monarchs and their closest advisors have used secret orders and informal agreements to modify the way succession works and bestow gifts. These mechanisms recognize that formal power has limits under a constitutional monarchy. Law establishes the norms, while custom precedent and soft authority ensure that things function smoothly. The Queen's letter is both a continuation of this tradition and, in other ways, a new concept. This is because it provides a modern consort with a tool hitherto exclusively accessible to the king or heir apparent. The long-term significance of the action will be determined by how the princess uses her authority and how others perceive her choices. If the warrant power advisory remit and symbolic act of wearing a reworked jewel are handled carefully and in accordance with widely held public values, such as supporting sustainable businesses, promoting family health, and championing British craftsmanship, the action has the potential to boost the monarchy's status and relevance. On the other hand, if the institution's use of power seems biased, profit-motivated, or ambiguous, it may face criticism that calls into doubt its political neutrality and public support. The Duke of Kent's admittance tale now suggests that the move was purposefully designed to strengthen rather than weaken the family. The human context a trusted uncle informing a granddaughter and grandson of a grandmother's order made the decree seem to be a family planning tool rather than a government power grab. This framing is significant because the monarchy's legitimacy is predicated on the notion that internal arrangements are founded on duty service and continuity rather than short-term political considerations. People affected by such conditions were given the Queen's letter as well as the Duke's commitment to look after them. In conclusion, the private letter, the delegation of power to issue royal warrants, the advising tasks entrusted to the Princess of Wales, and the transfer of the Williamson pink diamond in necklace form all contribute to the monarchy's relevance and continuity. The Queen's choosing recognized the unique abilities of a consort who had already shown public appeal and intimate dedication. It also provided her with symbolic and practical means to assist in building a modernized crown. The Princess of Wales has pursued a path that puts old symbols into dialogue with contemporary expectations. She has accomplished this by using warrants to promote British craftsmanship and ethical business practices, assisting her family with emotional and logistical obstacles, and wearing the redesigned diamond as a live symbol of intergenerational solidarity. People will remember Queen Elizabeth II not just for her lengthy reign, but also for how effectively she prepared the institutions she governed for the future. The secret order which was made public when the Duke of Kent's health deteriorated is a prime example of such forethought. It was a last, well-planned donation to the House of Windsor's strength, combining trusted personal ties with tangible means of power and a symbolic transfer of history. By doing so, she left behind not just a familial legacy, but also a vision for how the monarchy should continue to serve and evolve with the times. Thank you for watching the video. Please let us know your thoughts and goodbye for now.